Hey, Group 3. I read through your group Google Doc on the different equity and empowerment skills that you lifted from the readings, and I really loved reading it. Reading all of them, one of the things that I noticed was that you guys were able to really identify that no matter if you're looking at family, individual, or intervention skills, or all the way up to advocacy and community policy, what I saw as a thread, as a common theme throughout, was that you were, number one, talking about how important it is to identify the power and privilege we hold, and not only how it impacts the work that we're trying to do and that we wish to do, but that we can also use that to the advantage of combating oppression, right? And that you also saw as a necessary skill of being an anti-oppressive practitioner, naming and or connecting how individual problems are part of larger systemic institutional issues or oppression. So for example, some of the skills you mentioned that made me think about everything I just mentioned is recognizing and understanding the everyday practices, assumptions, approaches, and methods that help maintain status quo, redefining personal problems to raise consciousness, addressing the social context holistically, which will help an individual help see an individual problem as a social one, use your privilege to advocate, pushing back on systems that oppress. And as I was thinking about this, I thought, this is beautiful that you're seeing it's two huge big pieces that are part of excuse me, doing the work of equity and anti-oppression and empowerment, or growing the power of folks. And it's really, really hard. And I think it's particularly really hard sometimes to see how we can do that in direct practice, especially. So one of the things I thought about, just to share with you my own experiences, I really, really struggled with this in child welfare. And as I was looking back, both to where I felt that I was successful in this and also trespassed and failed, is in utilizing the power I held in being an author, if you will, of the narrative that would sort of follow someone. And what I'm talking about is really like case planning and the notes that we write particular. So I thought about the power of us as authors. In a lot of our direct service case management type roles, you're going to be responsible for typing up, notes of some kind. So I thought about just really lifting up that this is a space where we can really try to push back against the status quo, and that we do have power and privilege. And not just that, but all that, and if we have the opportunity to to revise, be more creative, expand on excuse me, the assessment and evaluation questions that we ask when folks first enter into our services, right? So I thought there's power there that we could use that helps create space to connect individual problems to systemic institutional issues. So are there, for example, social determinants, if you like, I thought about how the social determinants of health has been able to figure this out, and some hospital systems have done some work around including social determinant of health questions up front to try to connect a person's individual, health behaviors to the greater social environmental context of their lives. So is there ways that we can push back against the status quo in assessing and evaluating folks from the jump in a way that's going to honor the fact that they are inextricably connected, right, to larger social forces that are very oppressive to many folks? And then going back to the notes piece, I thought about, can we, in how we write our case notes, talk about folks' identity? Can we talk about their circumstances? Can we talk about their lived experience in how they've shared it? Can we use that as an avenue to really sort of expand the perception of a client to be more than the individual problem, and connect it to the larger social forces that influence and shape their lives and how they walk through the world? So that's just a little bit of food for thought as I was reading through your document, and some of my own reflections on it from my own experience. So great job.